My name is Joel Nichols, and I'm a branch manager at the Free Library of Philadelphia. I'm the branch manager here and also the children's librarian at the Durham Library. All right, this is another book that's a little bit silly, but it's also really cute. It's called How To. And on every page, it's going to tell us how to do something. And it's your job to tell me if you think it's right, because some of them are kind of strange. All right. So how to. How to go fast. Stilts, a scooter, running, butterfly wings. Do you see that kid with butterfly wings on? It used to be called the Mantua branch because it's our neighborhood, Mantua. Charles Durham Library also serves Palatine and West Palatine. So Palatine, West Palatine, and Mantua are our three service areas. We're one of the smallest branches at the Free Library in terms of floor space, in terms of collection size, and also in terms of circulation. 2007, this library was on the list of the 11 libraries to close. So in 2007, there was a plan to downsize the whole library system by closing 11 branches, and we were one of them. So there was huge community support to keep the library open. And you know, that it shows that people are strongly attached to this library and have been since they were kids. So there's art on the wall, and there's some paper mache dinosaurs, and one of those paper mache dinosaurs was actually made by one of our library assistants when she was like a kindergartner at Powell School, and that, you know, that the orange one there, and so that you know, that just goes to show how the way connections in this community run really deep, that even though it is a small community and a small library, that people have very long memories here and have been in the neighborhood for a long time. Overall, the whole Free Library has had some pretty serious financial hits since the recession. So our materials budget has been cut in half, you know, system-wide. Our staff has been cut and cut and cut. In the old days, a branch routinely had 6, 7, 8 people as full-time equivalents. Right now, this branch only has 3 1/4 full-time equivalents and 2 sort of permanent vacancies. So our biggest problem is really staffing, because we need a certain number of people to open the doors, and we need a certain number of people to provide good quality library services once the doors are open, and we often are sort of just at that limit. We're just skating by for both of those things.
With law librarianship, of course, the law is, there's a huge body of knowledge, and you know, lawyers, law firms, the basic commodity, the raw material of their business is information and knowledge, and you know, we have hundreds of years of common law, you know, the cases that judges have decided on, and we have nearly 300 databases of legal and business information that we use, as well as hundreds of thousands of books. And so we might be involved for a really long time with, say, a specific case, you know, helping attorneys track maybe news about our client or the opposition. We might also set up news alerts for them. We might be researching really arcane points of law. Today I did 2 legislative histories where I had to go back and find reports from the Senate and the House about why they were you know, proposing this legislation and what their intent was behind the legislation, so that you know, our attorneys could put that information into briefs that they would be filing with the courts.
I'm Mark Zaleski, and I am the circulation and stacks manager of the music library at Rowan University. Well, for me, cataloging is fun because I'm just staring at a book and like figuring out what it's about, and you know, what other editions there are. You have to just look things up. It's very nitty-gritty technical stuff, but I don't know, I have some sense of accomplishment afterwards, because I know that that'll mean that somebody can find it, you know, like in a music library. These are, you know, budding musicians, and they need to be able to play stuff that they've never heard of before, that stuff that their teacher won't tell them about. And there's there's a lot of stuff in the library that's not yet on the shelf. So that's why I think the most important thing of my day is just getting stuff out there.
You have to have a Master of Science in library science to be a librarian. So whenever you go to a library, not everybody who's there is a librarian.
My BA is in German Studies and Linguistics, so I did a German Studies BA, and then I spent a year in Berlin on a research fellowship the year after I graduated from college. And while I was there, I met a lot of librarians and spent a lot of time in libraries, but I actually came back and moved to Philadelphia and did a master's in fiction, so in creative writing and fiction. And I did not intend on libraries as a career at all. I didn't intend on going to graduate school again or incurring any debt or anything like that. So after a while, I was teaching college English part-time, and I was looking for more full-time work, and there was this opportunity with the Free Library to be hired as a library trainee, so to be hired as a sort of a paraprofessional position and then be sent to library school on a grant. So the Free Library Foundation had a grant to send a number of people to library school, so I started working as a professional librarian and went to library school at the same time. And then after a year, a little over a year, I graduated and was promoted to librarian from there.
Well, I got 2 bachelor's degrees, one in music and one in literature. So that was 5 years, and then 2 years of grad school. So quite a bit, but most music librarians end up getting a second master's in music to be competitive, but I've done fine without it.
Bachelor's first, and then I did go to law school and decided that I was not a 100-hour-a-week kind of guy, although I really enjoyed the subject matter, and I thought, there must be a way to make some money off of this interest of mine, and so I decided, to be a law librarian. I had actually worked for a legal publisher many years ago, and so I'd been to all of the conventions that law librarians go to, so I already had a sense of, what kind of people librarians were, and they're a pretty cool bunch. I was working in the financial services industry in 2008, and I thought, maybe this is a good time for me to upgrade my skill set. And I'd had in the back of my mind, if I ever have to have a new profession, I'd like to be a law librarian. So, but I also, since I had only gone to law school for one semester, I wanted to have some kind of piece of paper that said, oh, he knows about law. So I went to Community College of Philadelphia in the evenings and got an Associate of Applied Science in Paralegal Studies. And then I was eventually laid off from the brokerage firm where I was working, and that's when I applied to Drexel to get a Master's of Library Science, Master's of Library and Information Science, excuse me.
The internet, I think, has a huge impact on all academic libraries, because that's more and more what people want. They want digital resources. They don't want to have to come in and look at a book. And actually, Rowan's focus now is transitioning to that. So anytime that there's something available in a book or electronically, we prefer the electronic edition. Because it just changes what the fundamental nature of a library is. Before, you had to be in a library to do research. That was just what you did. And everyone knew where everything was because you had to. Now, if you look around at most academic libraries, it's study space. So just like right here, like in the room outside, there's about 10 groups just talking, doing group study, and usage of books is just way down. So, we have to reprioritize. But it also changes the expectations of the people who use the library, because they assume that all information is easily found online, and that they often, if I'm trying to help them, they'll tell me what to search for, even though I'm the one that knows where to find it. I'll be doing a search. No, try this word. No, I'm not going to try that word because it won't work. you get this like the informed user, because we think we know everything because it's just one search away. Like about medical stuff, you know, people believe that you can go on PubMed, or not PubMed because that's too hard probably. But there's like WebMD, and then people are diagnosing themselves. You know, I know this is not a library problem, but I think it's just where the culture is, and so a library is seen as this relic.
As you say, computers are probably the most attractive thing for most people, the most necessary thing for most people. Our access to computers and printing and the internet. You know, everybody has a form to fill out online. Everybody has a bill to pay online. Everybody has a job to apply to online. Certainly for all kids, birth through age 12, let's say, books still remain a really important reason why they're coming to the library. As you saw with Storytime, I mean, all those kids are coming in here really just for a literacy experience, to feel and hear and touch picture books and see them in action. So although I 100% agree that the library is not just for books anymore, I want to make sure that we remember that people still come for books. I mean, if you poll, you know, 8 out of 10 people coming in here, they are in here for books as well, not only computers. So it's hard. Right now, for instance, you see that everyone in here is using the computer. Some of those people will check out books, some of them will not. In a perfect world, you know, everyone would be also checking out books, but the reality is that there's lots of ways to read and there's lots of things to read, and it doesn't all have to be a paper book.